I guess we'll do Herschel Woody Williams.
Okay.
Now I got to meet him several times. Did a couple events for some speaking engagements that he was at. But one engagement really stood out to me for a number of reasons, and one it's because for the first time, he talked about something besides Iwo Jima, which that's what I was interested in because I'd heard one of his speeches before. The guy's a Medal of Honor recipient. At the time, he was the last living Medal of Honor recipient from the Pacific Theater for the U.S. So, I mean, kind of a big deal. Everybody wants to know about him and a flamethrower and Iwo Jima. But at this one particular event, which ironically enough was an Iwo Jima reunion, he talked about his time on Guam with the Third Marine Division, and the first time that he took a man's life. Woody was not a flamethrower operator. Um, and as you get to know his story, it becomes more incredible that that was he was a rifleman. He was a rifleman with initiative. As a rifleman, I believe he had a Garand on Guam, and he talked about that, and I thought that was interesting for him to bring it up because it made everything else a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more real. Not that the flamethrower story isn't so unreal, but I guess because it's what we all expected. Oh, here's the Medal of Honor recipient, Woody Williams. Here he is. Let's talk about flamethrowers. To hear his story about the first time he took a man's life was, kind of eye opening, and it really put into perspective, what he went through because I don't think we always think about that. When we have somebody that we treat as this hero, this national treasure, we don't think about those little personal struggles. And it was, like I said, it was just very, very interesting, very eye opening to hear about what happened on Guam. Before anybody really, knew his name like we know now. Um, so I thought that was interesting, and that was that same night that you have different events. They've got little raffle tickets, and you try to win stuff, right? Like you never, I never win that kind of stuff. But they had several Woody Williams items up there on this table for the raffle, and all autographed, of course. And I bought one raffle ticket, one, and that one raffle ticket was drawn for this nice little bust
Wow.
here of Woody.
That's cool.
When he, yeah, super cool, and he signed along the bottom here. Of course, I had other things with me for him to sign, but um, it's an interesting story too. Beyond his Medal of Honor, beyond flamethrowers, beyond Iwo Jima, was how he started the Gold Star Family Foundation. And that was the reason for some of the other times I got to meet him was a groundbreaking ceremony for the Gold Star, the statue that they would make. They would put it different places all over the U.S. And it was because when he initially tried to join the Marine Corps, he was too short. He was turned down. Beginning of the war, he was actually turned down, and he was delivering Western Unions.
Wow.
And
Ooh.
yeah, he grew
Ouch.
up, I believe, I want to say it was West Virginia. Um, but we can look that up later. But I want to say it was West Virginia. He delivered a Western Union, a one of those Western
Yeah,
Unions,
that's now
and
for those you new to this whole thing, you're just getting into the subject matter. You're not aware. Western Union was the number one form of communication from the military, all branches, to the families of those who perished or were missing during the war. And so Woody tried to join the Marine Corps, was too short. His contribution to the war effort was sadly delivering Western Unions. And by this point in the war, no one wanted to see you. If you're a Western Union guy and you're coming down the sidewalk, moms, fathers, sisters, they all held their breath and hoped and prayed that you just ride on by and go to somewhere else.
yeah, and this particular one is kind of what spawned his idea even before he joined the Marine Corps because at the time there was the Gold Star Mothers, right? Everybody, any service member from your family that was overseas, they would hang a blue star, and of course, if they were killed in action, then you would get a gold star to hang in your window just to show, the service that your family has given to the country. Well, he delivered with this one telegram in West Virginia to a father who lost his son. And I guess the mother was deceased or whatever, but the father, with tears in his eyes, said, "Dads cry too." And it kind of resonated with Woody that it's not just the mothers that lose a son. It's not just gold star mothers. There's such a thing as gold star fathers and uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters. So he started the Gold Star Family Foundation, which you can look a lot more into. Just a really really neat organization. And again, sadly, Woody Williams is no longer with us. And again, very lucky to have talked with him one on one. And that same evening that he talked about his time on Guam and that I won this little bust here was also the day that we handed him a flamethrower in a Holiday Inn parking lot and demonstrated it for the public with the fire marshal there and the fire truck. And I know I've talked about that a few times, and we may do a recording of that for Patreon subscribers to hear the whole story because it was a doozy. But again, we'll miss Woody as well.
This has been a Digital 410 production.